"Morning, Ramsey. What are you listening to?" he asked. He stopped at the wall and bent to open his toolbox and pulled out a couple of tools. Tara blinked. "Huh?" Ramsey glanced at her and smiled. "Your music, lass. What are you listening to?" Rihanna," she answered, still baffled that he had known she had her iPod on. She had turned it down low enough so that no one would hear, and the cords to her earplugs were hidden by her hair. Tara's heart began to pound as her mind raced. Had the Warriors found her again? She scooted her rolling chair back, prepared to grab her purse and keys and run. Until she spotted the white cord against her black sweater. She looked at Ramsey to find him staring at her. After a moment, he shrugged and turned his back to her. Tara released a long sigh and put her elbow on the desk before she dropped her head into her hand. She was so paranoid. She hated living her life this way, but for her, there wasn't another way. Because she was a druid. And not just any druid. She was a dangerous one. Tara squeezed her eyes closed and thought over the past 10 years of her life. It wasn't that she had had a good or bad childhood. It had been average, just like her grades in school. Hell, she had been average. Average height, average looks, average clothes, average everything. She had known since she was a small child that she had magic. It ran strong through her family, and it never worried her. That is, until the day of her 18th birthday, and she learned far more about the Druids than she had ever been told before. Her family had lied to her all those years before, telling her that all Druids were the same. Not only were there 2 different kinds of Druids, Mies, the good Druids, and Drows, the ones who dabbled in black magic and gave their souls to the devil. Her family were all Drows. That wasn't what bothered her. What had made her run from her family was their insistence that she become Drow as well. They demanded she give her soul to Satan, which would have condemned her to hell when she died. For some odd, inexplicable reason, that didn't bother anyone in her family. Just her. And they didn't understand her. Not that they ever had before. Tara hadn't wanted anything extraordinary out of life. She had just wanted a simple life. A husband who loved her, children surrounding her, and a house filled with lots of laughter. Instead, she now couldn't stay anywhere too long before she had to leave again. Already she had spent 10 years in Scotland, which was most likely 10 years too long. She should have left and gone somewhere else when she ran away from her family, but she loved Scotland too much to leave. However, she knew this was her last stop in her beloved land. She was going to have to leave, and it saddened her. It was just 5 days until her birthday. She had always thought by the time she reached 28 she'd have at least 2 children. Instead, she was alone. She didn't even allow herself to make friends, because friends asked questions and became curious about her past, and she hated lying, so she kept to herself. There had been one time she made the mistake of thinking someone was a friend, but Declan Wallace had been anything but. To this day, she didn't know how he had found her in that pub in Aberdeen, but his good looks, charm, and silver tongue had done the trick for a scared, confused 18-year-old who had run away from home. Tara should have known what kind of man he was, but she blamed her emotional state for having overlooked it. She had stayed at his mansion for a month before she learned he was a druid. When he didn't push her to undergo the ceremony to become Drow, she worked with him on strengthening her magic for several more months. Tara had been careful about how much she used her magic. No one, least of all her, understood why her magic was so out of control. But Declan had pressed her to use more of it, to learn to control it. He hadn't understood her reluctance, and she hadn't told him. Nothing had worked, yet he hadn't been upset. He seemed to enjoy the fact that her magic was all over the place. If her emotions were high, she could blow up a light bulb without even trying. Then, one night, she hadn't been able to sleep and she'd ventured downstairs to get something to eat when she'd overheard Declan's plans for her. Once again, Tara was on the run. She knew eventually she would be caught. Would it be by her family, the Warriors hunting her, or Declan? Who among them would end her life? Would they come in the middle of the night or in the light of day? Did it even matter anymore?